The story kicks off in the year 1992 in Bogota, Colombia, where Don Luis says his goodbyes to one of his godsons, Fabio Restrepo, who wants out of the cartel business. As soon as Fabio leaves, Don orders Marco to kill him.
Kill this
But Fabio can already tell what's coming, so he hurries home to his family to get them out of town. Upon getting home, Fabio takes out a microchip from his family photo and hands it to his daughter, Cataleya. He calls it her passport and writes out an address for her, which she's to show to the man at the gate. He then gives her his flower necklace, saying the flower reminds him of his mother's orchids, and that it was why he named Cataleya after them. Earlier than predicted, Don Luis's men arrive and block their exit.
We want to see Don Fabio.
So Fabio tells Alicia, Cataleya's mom, to get the weapons ready for them to fight back. Before he goes with her, he tells Cataleya he loves her, and she says the same. Don Luis's men open fire, and Cataleya watches her parents rush downstairs to take down their foes. As they try to defend their house, the parents are killed in front of the 9-year-old girl. She sees Marco show up and speak to Fabio's corpse, telling him that no one leaves Don Luis. Another of Luis's men points a gun at her head, but Marco stops him and sends him elsewhere to do his job. He gently speaks to Cataleya, trying to paint her father as a bad person and asking for a flash drive. He asks her what she wants, and she painfully surprises him by stabbing his hand and telling him that she wants to kill Don Luis. Immediately, she exits the house through the window.
Kill Don Luis.
Swallows the microchip and runs for her dear life, but the men chase after her, pursuing her through the bustling town. She quickly maneuvers her way and slips through their grasp like a slippery eel. Eventually, she slides onto a small pavement and loses their tail. After a while, Cataleya steps out of a manhole and follows her father's instructions. A soldier takes her inside a building, and she gets interrogated by another man in an office. There, she pukes out her insides and shows him the chip Fabio gave her. After loading it onto his computer, the officer temporarily dismisses his staff and continues questioning Cataleya. He asks her if she knows what she gave him, and Cataleya calls it a passport.
My passport.
Instantly, she's taken on a private plane and flown to Miami. After getting all her papers, Cataleya excuses herself to the bathroom and then sneaks away from the official to a station where she boards a bus to Chicago. Upon getting there, she boards a train to a particular address and walks alone down the alley, trying to locate the address Fabio wrote for her. Thankfully, a man hears her out and quickly goes to Emilio to inform him of his guest. But Emilio has his hands busy torturing someone and pays him no heed until the man tells Emilio
Her name is Cataleya.
that his guest is a person named Cataleya. Shortly, Emilio sees her and quickly rushes to hug her. They have a heartwarming reunion, and she cries in his arms, but he assures her that she's safe. The next day, Cataleya wakes up in her room and goes to meet Emilio in the dining room. There she meets her grandmother, who commends her beautiful eyes and welcomes her into the new home. While waiting for breakfast, Cataleya learns that the room she slept in was her dead cousin's, who was killed. After hearing that the killer has been dealt with, she tells Emilio that she wants to be a killer. She then asks him if he could help, and he agrees. Moments later, Emilio enrolls Cataleya in a school, where she'll be resuming the following Monday. After finalizing the admission with the principal, Emilio walks her to a restaurant, but Cataleya gets mad at him and reminds him that she wants to be a killer, even refuting the school as a place that has nothing to teach her. Believing that he won't help her, Cataleya tells Emilio that she'll do it herself. Suddenly, Emilio pulls out a gun and shoots at a random moving car. As a result, the driver swerves and hits a fire hydrant. And everyone around starts panicking. Emilio uses the scenario as an example, assuring her that he'll teach her how to be a killer, but he says she'll be dead in 5 years. Since Cataleya wants to be a killer, Emilio advises her to know things besides how to pull a trigger, especially the psychological aspect of people. For that, she'll need to learn the basics at a school, so he presents her with 2 options: a gun representing the way of a killer, and her school bag representing psychology. As cops pour into the scene, Emilio urges her to pick a side, and Cataleya chooses her school bag. Happy with the result, Emilio quickly hides his gun and walks away with her. About 15 years later, Cataleya rams a vehicle into the cops and comes out of it reeking of alcohol. The cops immediately arrest her, but she jokes around, indicating that she's dead drunk, and they drag her to their station. There, the officer attending to her case charges her for driving under the influence and destruction of police property, but she struggles to maintain focus and nearly barfs on the officer's table, so the cops put her in a cell to sleep the night. That same night, a caught criminal.
All right, big step. Down you come. All right, stretch those legs. Come on, move.
Gennaro Risso is brought into the same jail to sleep the night. As soon as the cops return to their positions, Cataleya changes her outfit and stealthily leaves her cell by using her hairpin to open the door. She then takes a spoon from her coffee and maneuvers her way into the electrical room, where she opens the vent and sets a delayed mechanism to help her stop the fan in the vent. The moment she gets past the first major hurdle, she knocks out the cop assigned to monitor Rizzo and uses him to enter the private cell. She then takes the cop's gun and uses it on Rizzo, commanding him to unbutton his shirt before shooting him. The noise alerts the cops, and they storm into Rizzo's cell, only to find the knocked-out cop with a gun. So they arrest him, and then check the criminal's corpse, and notice a flower drawing on his shirt. Quickly, they spread out,
Get him out of here.
searching the entire prison for the culprit, but Cataleya avoids being seen and even returns to her cell just in time and changes her outfit before the cops get there. The next morning, Agent Ross, an FBI agent, comes to Chicago to investigate Rizzo's death. What has his attention is the flower drawing on the corpse, and this is because he's been notified of several others, so he goes to the station. During that period, the cops release Cataleya from the cell and inform her that she'll be facing court in 10 days.
Yeah, really, but I'm quite sure the judge will send you back here.
You probably deserve it.
Well, you're just lucky no one got hurt.
For her DUI actions. They take her fingerprint, but when she leaves the station, Cataleya tosses away the fingerprint glove she put on and changes her appearance. As for Agent Ross, he checks the crime scene and orders the list of people who came in and out of the police station in the last 24 hours. Cataleya, on the other hand, contacts Emilio with a payphone, and he tells her he has a job for her in the next 2 days. After Agent Ross does a thorough analysis, he concludes that the killer is trying to leave a message, which is not for them, so he tells the cops to have the strange killings on the front pages of the newspapers.
Mr. Richard.
Somewhere in Miami, Mr. Richard, a CIA agent, goes to Don Luis and shows him the newspaper headlines, but Luis calls it a coincidence. Richard doesn't buy the lie because there were over 20 killings with the orchid drawing on their chests, so he questions Luis about Fabio and reminds him that the CIA allowed him to set up a base in Miami rather than lock him down, and that's on the condition that Luis is transparent with them. Before Richard leaves, he orders Luis to find out who is causing trouble. Marco shows up immediately after, and Luis scolds him for not getting rid of Fabio's entire family.
Idiot. I told you. Everyone dead, down to the dog.
Like he ordered 15 years ago. He then orders Marco to fix things. Later, Cataleya returns to her base, where she freshens up and watches her CCTV in case of any suspicious movement. Agent Ross, on the other hand, holds a meeting with other police officers and explains to them that the targets are bad guys. He then hands down names and numbers of the people who were in the police station before the crime took place. That evening, Danny Delaney, Cataleya's boyfriend, returns to the apartment, and Cataleya welcomes him. They kiss, but Danny asks her when they're going to go on a normal date. It's been his wish to show her off to others, but Cataleya has him on a leash, and Danny couldn't resist her kitty. Early the next morning, Cataleya leaves for a dry cleaning house to meet with Emilio. He updates her on how Grandma misses her and shows Cataleya her next target. But before she leaves, he shows her the newspaper, questioning how long it's been going on and why. Emilio condemns her actions, saying it won't smoke out Don Luis, and reminds her that the case isn't just about her. Cataleya then corrects him that he's clean, but he reminds her that it's his job to keep her safe, and what she's doing isn't professional. Seeing that Cataleya doesn't regret her actions and still plans to do more.
You didn't let me do anything. I chose this, remember? I chose this.
Emilio tells her that he shouldn't have brought her into such a life, but she argues with him and says that she chose the path. Having rested his case, Cataleya asks him to continue watching her back. In the office, Ross examines a frame of the orchid, and an office worker sees it and calls it Cataleya. The man explains its roots to come from Colombia, and it's thanks to his wife that he knows about the flower. After the man leaves, Ross searches the image of the flower and sees that it matches. He tries to search for an organization with such a name, but he is denied access. Meanwhile, Cataleya feeds her dogs raw meat and picks up one of her passports, then flies to the Caribbean. There, her target, William Woodgard, a rich millionaire, parties every day with a lot of women. One of them tries to get the attention of his sharks, but they do not answer her, since there's no blood to attract them. That night, William orders extra security.
Alejandro, you bring in extra security for tonight. Yes, sir. Make sure that we are shut down.
And goes to have fun with his women. Despite the tight security, Cataleya shows up from the most unexpected place, the shark pool. She then goes to her target to unalive him with a gun, but then changes her mind and scribbles on his chest. Suddenly, William wakes up and sees all his men's bodies sprawled on the floor, so he picks up their guns and goes to the main hall. There, he sees a Cataleya flower on the glass covering the shark pool, and then hears a voice asking him to turn around. As soon as he sees the perpetrator, he fires his guns multiple times at her, but then he realizes he's been had. Since no bullet comes out, he starts pleading, but Cataleya shoots him in the leg, and then cracks the glass beneath him. She lets it dawn on him that his blood and plus size will be the end of him. Within seconds, he crashes into his pool, and the sharks try out new recipes with him. In the meantime, after trying multiple times to access the CIA account, Ross contacts Richard and briefs him about the tagged killer's case and asks that he grant him access. But Richard says he can't do it over the call, and it's better that he files for it officially. Marco flies to Chicago, and Richard calls him to tell him that the FBI is closing in on him, so he orders Marco to take care of the problem. After her mission, Cataleya goes to Danny's place and sees that he left a note for her, saying he'll be back the following day as he went to attend an art meeting.
Jen, in case you show up, I wanted to let you know that I went to New York to meet with galleries. I'll be back tomorrow night, but if you're already here...
Meanwhile, Ross scans through the list of people that came into the hospital, and when he scans Cataleya, her name doesn't pop up, so he concludes that the tagged killer isn't a woman. The next night, Danny returns and sees that Cataleya has prepared an indoor candlelit dinner. She gives him a stuffed alligator he's always wanted, and showers him with kisses, but he suggests they talk first. So they talk about their trips, but when he tries to learn more about her, she doesn't open up about her past. Grasping for straws, Danny asks her to tell him anything, so she lets him know that she feels lonely sometimes.
I feel lonely sometimes.
And he relates with her. She goes to kiss him, but he stops her and says he'd like to take the lead. The next morning, Danny prepares breakfast and takes a photo of her. He then wakes her up, but she frantically gets out of bed and starts dressing up to leave. Confused, he asks her what's going on, but she doesn't give him an answer. Moments later, she arrives at the library and meets Emilio, who angrily tosses a newspaper at her. He informs her that Don Luis has gotten one of his friends, and he's getting closer to them, but she doesn't see it as a big deal. This makes him mad at her, and he tells her that she has changed, and he won't be giving her any work again. In her defense, she asks him how many people he killed when they killed his son, but he makes her know that the case is different, and he considers her the only hope they have left in their family.
When I lose my son, I lose my life. Everything is important to me is gone.
He then tells her not to contact him or his mother again. As proof, he hands her a photo and leaves her, and when Cataleya sees it, she breaks down into tears. Later that day, Danny meets with his friend and describes Cataleya, who he knows as Jennifer, to be the person he is convinced he really likes. Danny shows him a picture before going outside to question a cop who flagged his vehicle for parking wrongly. During that period, his friend contacts his sister-in-law and sends her Cataleya's photo to help her run a scan. After much convincing, she does as he says, and it pops up on Ross's computer, so he traces the source and sends cops there. During church service, Cataleya shows up and joins her family. And it surprises her grandma. After the service, while Emilio drives home, his mom speaks to him about Cataleya's actions, but little do they know that Marco has spotted them from his vehicle. As for the cops sent to investigate the traced activity, they confirm through the computer that the images match perfectly with Cataleya's, so Ross orders the cops to have Cataleya's face sent to other stations as the tagged killer.
Print it. In and out to all stations.
And get the mobile unit ready.
Yes, sir.
Within that time frame, Cataleya calls Danny with an unknown line to hear from him, but the police track her location. As soon as they get it, the SWAT team heads out after her. Luckily, Danny opens up about a picture he took of her.
I was literally just looking at a picture of you, thinking of you when the phone rang.
What picture?
I took a picture of you while you were sleeping with my phone. It's really bad.
And she learns that it must have leaked to the cops. Immediately, she looks through her CCTV and sees SWAT pull up to her building. She quickly switches on her cooking gas, takes a gun, and frees her bird before exiting her apartment. Luckily, she has a head start before they can arrive at her place, and she takes the emergency staircase until she enters someone's room. She knocks him out and goes to his bathroom and takes a sniper from the roof. She then blows up the wall and uses wires to descend the elevator. Once she reaches the floor, she quickly crawls into the garage and takes out the CCTV cameras. The officers monitoring the cameras realize her position, so they start rushing there, but by then, Cataleya makes her exit through a vent that leads to the subway. When she heads back to Emilio's place and sees that her grandma and Emilio have been killed, she mourns them bitterly and later goes to Ross's house. She then corners him and explains her whole situation to him about how Don Luis turned her into a monster, and she needs his help to get to him because Luis is being backed by the government. Ross explains that he doesn't have access to the CIA, and he has tried, but Cataleya threatens him with his family before leaving his house. So the next day, Ross goes to meet Richard and asks him to give him Don Luis's address, but Richard refuses despite Ross's plea about his family being on the line. Suddenly, Cataleya calls him and aims a sniper at Richard. She takes a warning shot, and Richard tells her where Luis stays, in New Orleans. Cataleya takes a lot of ammo and her dogs along with her in a fire truck. She drives to New Orleans and forcefully gets the floor plan to Luis's building. Later that day, as Luis's men strategize how to handle Cataleya, a bazooka flies into the mansion and nearly kills them. Like chickens, some of them quickly get into a vehicle to make a getaway, but Cataleya crashes their vehicle with her fire truck. She then gets out and clears everyone in the vehicle. The remaining men change their plans and decide to play defense from one girl. Marco, on the other hand, keeps Don Luis in a safe room, while the others look for Cataleya. Due to knowing the structure of the building beforehand, Cataleya uses the element of surprise to take most of them out. From attacking them through the basement to spraying them through the balcony, she gets rid of most of them using different weapons. Scared, Don Luis calls Marco to confirm the situation, but he doesn't get a soothing response. At a point, Marco runs into another room and waits to face Cataleya head-on. As expected, she walks into the room, and they fight each other. Being an experienced henchman of the cartel boss, Marco gives Cataleya a tough time. He lands several hits and tries to shoot her, but Cataleya fights back, and eventually uses the inner frame of a gun to stab him in the neck. Don Luis leaves the safe room and runs into a black van. He drives out of the mansion, but his way gets blocked by a garbage truck. Right then, Cataleya calls him through Marco's phone, and he boasts to her that he can't be killed. He threatens to find her and kill her, but she tells him that he's exactly where she wants him to be. That's when Don Luis becomes aware of his surroundings and sees her dogs in the van. With one word, she commands them to eat.
Eat.
And they attack the so-great cartel boss, unaliving him in the process. Days later, Agent Ross interrogates Danny to learn more about Cataleya, and Danny tells him everything he knows. After being delayed for a couple of hours, Danny requests a cup of coffee, and when Ross goes to get it for him, Cataleya calls him.
Thank God. Look, I had no idea. I'm so sorry. Are you okay?
And learns that he's at the FBI, and he knows about her. She tells him that they have 40 seconds, and he should use it to ask 3 questions. But Danny simply asks for her real name, and she tells him it's Cataleya.
What's your real name?
Cataleya.
Like the flower?
He then asks her if his little bird will come back, and she tells him to be open about it. Instead of asking her the third question, Danny tells Cataleya he loves her. Meanwhile, Ross learns of their conversation, and when he tries to talk to her, she hangs up on him. Ross then releases Danny, and Cataleya leaves the payphone and enters a bus to start a new life. The end. Thank you for sticking to the end of my video. Please do me the biggest favor by leaving a like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next video.